my computer is not 100%. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Chop Sports Show, coming to you live here on a football Monday. It is Sturch. It is Gooch. A5 right, Anthony behind the glass. You got to look at yourself over here. You're good. We're live here from the Richard Lucas Chevrolet and Subaru studio in sunny, cold Matawan, New Jersey. We completely skipped over the fall. We went from 75 to 30 today on the degrees over there on the temp. But yeah, it's a very cold day here in Jersey. But you know who's not cold? The Cowboys defense. They're not cold. They played some good football last night. We'll get into all that. We'll get into the entire Week 13 slate in just a little bit. But again, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors that do sponsor this show, including, which I just said, Richard Luke. You good? Richard Lucas Chevrolet and Subaru in Woodbridge. Go say hello to my boys, Artie, George. George is on the mend. I don't know if you know this, but he took a bad fall. Yeah, he broke something. I think it was his femur. Something bad. And it was, I asked him, I was like, how'd it happen? He's like, I took a wrong step. Like, it wasn't like big game hunting like he likes to do.
Bro, femur?
So I have something to that effect, but get well soon, George.
Hopefully it's the tibia or the fibia.
Maybe it was that.
Femur is like your thigh.
Oh, no, that wasn't that. It was, he's in like a
terrible. That's tough.
Didn't we know a guy that did that? Didn't Craigwell do that?
Both
of them?
I know that. Actually, you know, I mean, I'm not going to talk about somebody's child.
Yeah, no, let's not do that.
I know.
So, in any event, get well soon, George, over there at Richard Lucas Chevrolet and Subaru. Go check out those guys. They're the best. I literally bought and leased every single car for the last, 15 years from those guys. And, of course, our friend of the show, Scoop Espo, just bought himself a brand new Subaru something. Don't know what kind of car he bought, but he bought one there. And also our friends over at Absolute Eyewear getting involved here with Chop Sports, as always. What's wrong?
I'm wagging the finger. Baker's not going to San Fran, bro. He's like
we'll get into
a hand grenade with a pin taken out.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brock Purdy is better. Brock Purdy is greater than Baker Mayfield. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, reports are coming out. Ian Rappaport put out there that the full expectation is for Baker to be released, outright cut today, which is just mind-numbing to me. I know it's the trade deadline's come and gone, so you can't deal them anywhere, and nobody else would really be interested. I don't think the 49ers would want some kind of corrupt shit like that in their locker room.
Like
I don't know. He
just a hand grenade with the pin taken out, placed on the ground, and then you think the fucking 49ers are going to throw that in the middle of their locker room?
Yeah, no, I don't buy that for a second, but we'll get into that. And of course, like I said, Absolute Eyewear getting involved with Chop Sports. As always, Janine over there and Craig are jumping on with us into our new platform coming up in January. So this show has like what? If you think about it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe like 6 shows left on the live platform. So
yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Tell your friends, folks. We're only 6 shows left, and then we're moving on over into something new, and very, very excited about it. So, in any event, checking out the chat right now. Good morning to Sam. Scoops in the building. AJ's in the building. Mark from Canada in the building. Janine, who I just mentioned, in the building. We have a couple, and yeah, I mean, people are Hawaii Mike. Athletic reported that Judge wants a 9-year deal. So we'll get into that in a second because there is a couple things. First and foremost, right after this show, stay on YouTube and head on over and type in the search bar, Cocaine Bear. Oh, stop. Please do that. It was fantastic. I have to see that movie, Cocaine Bear, coming to a theater near you. Yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. A bear gets his hand on cocaine, and he does it, and he just goes on a rampage. Sort of like the Cowboys defense did last night. But over the weekend, right before we got the NFL slate, we got some news about Jakey baby over there in New York. He heads out of town, and he's now a member of the Texas Rangers, which we knew the Texas Rangers were going to be buyers this offseason because they got a shit ton of money. They have the ability to do so. But my question is this, Coach, how did you not entertain a Mets offer? Apparently there was none, or at least if there was one, he wasn't picking up the phone. Like Jake DeGrom wanted out, it seems.
I don't know enough about it, but I feel like the Mets have had plenty of opportunities to give Jake an offer. I can't sit here and say that it's on the player. We're looking at last year with the Freddie Freeman saga and how there was no communication between the club and the agent. And then it found out around All-Star break that Freeman was upset with the way things went down. You would think these teams and players have learned. Judging by the way it happened, I feel like the Mets, they could sit here and say they never listened. I think that's just sugarcoating it a little bit. I think the Mets, they may have dodged a bullet at the end of the day when you look back at things and you're like, oh, they shouldn't have given him all that money.
Mm-hmm.
It was a smart deal to not do it. But the problem that I have with it is that they gave all that money to Max Scherzer the year before, and now he's
40 years old.
He's 4 years older than him.
40 years old. I'm saying.
So he's 5 years older than him.
Well, whatever the case, I'm saying he's
and
old.
now you basically replaced what was your guy for the entirety of his career, and I feel like you kind of held him back a little bit, especially in the early going because you didn't want to pay him sooner. I don't know.
Mets fans have a win-win here.
The 40 starts that he's had over the last 3 seasons, I guess it makes sense as to why they were a little hesitant to give him that deal. But they can't sit here and say that they weren't able to give the final offer because then it wasn't dodging a bullet. They're kind of just, I feel like you're not going to hear much from DeGrom when it comes to any of it. He's going to keep his mouth shut and just go deliver when it comes to pitching.
I agree.
And the Mets, they're never really going to come out and say this, that, or the other. There's not going to be any facts coming out on this, I don't think.
Yeah,
but if they now turn and shift gears towards Verlander and they pay Verlander,
which he did not sign yet, by the way. Chop Sports.
Yeah, if they shift gears
Chop
and they
Sports
try and sign
Insider.
Verlander, they're going. I feel like Verlander, he wants a 3-year deal too, so you're going to be putting a lot of stock into Scherzer and Verlander. We'll see.
The combined age of their first 2 pitchers will be 83 or something.
I think it's a little bit curious to see that the Mets let their guy go and replace him with some other guys. That's $10 million more than what they could have gotten the ground for.
Staying on, I'm coming Friday, by the way. I know you're excited. I don't know who that was for. Friday. I don't know. Maybe he's coming in the studio. I don't know.
Is there some type of wrestling event?
No. We have a party to go to Friday.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know. Unless he's talking about the party.
Maybe he's coming to pick up his Debo.
Oh, true. Okay, so maybe he's stopping by the office. Anyway, doesn't matter. Scoop, you don't matter. I'm kidding.
Or maybe he's coming in for the show, Friday Lean.
That could be a possibility too. So
we just invited
you guys
himself,
into the studio, jerk offs. Yeah, so he'll be here. He'll sit we'll get him set up on the guest chair on Friday. But in the same regard, same breath as free agency with the MLB, Judge and Hawaii Mike came in and said that there was a rumor out there that Judge wants 9 years. He's 31 years old or 32 years old, one of those two, maybe 30, whatever the case may be. That contract would put him to 40 years old. Are you at all worried about that right now? I know it's not our money, so we can't say, well, I don't know, man. Like, it's a big, hefty price tag. Like, fans shouldn't actually give a shit about the money they spend because if it's like, if they're surpassing the threshold anyway, who gives a shit?
For a couple reasons why you should at some level, because it's not your money. I understand, whatever, spend the money, but you understand as a fan, like right now, the Dodgers have been a team that's completely in on every single free agent. Right now, the Dodgers could only fake like they're in on every free agent because they really have to bring that number down a little bit because it's exponential when we're talking about the luxury tax, right? They really have no choice. They have to get down low or they're going to be paying $300 million in luxury tax while paying $300 million in salary. Like you have no choice.
So now Mike's trying to pour cold water on this, saying like he's played only 140 plus games in 3 of his first 6 years. So he's calling it an injury prone in regards to that. And he is 31. So he will be 40 at the end of this duration of the contract. So
two things. One, I don't know that. I feel like if they do a 9-year deal, the annual salary is going to go down significantly, right?
You would think.
I think that would be.
Do they front load contracts in this league? No,
wolf
right?
Tickets and media bullshit. I think when you start talking, he's about to get a 6-year deal. How do you get a 7th year? You say something crazy like 9. Then there's going to be one team, i.e. the Yankees, that are going to be like, okay, we'll give him that 7th year. If you do a 9-year deal, the likelihood that there's going to be a player opt-out option after 3 is there, right? The team's not going to get it, but the player will. So I almost would rather, in some sense, give up the 9 years, get it lower, and then hopefully in that case, there is an opt-out clause after 3 years for the player. Even if he does really well, then you could revisit things and be like, well, we got Judge for the next 3 years, his actual prime. And then if we don't want to give him them 6 years, then we don't have to. He could opt out.
Remember, you're paying for a chance to bring an all-generational player back to compete for a championship. It's not like let's get a face of the crowd. Like he's already got the Judge's Chambers thing. He's the highest selling jersey on the Yankees. We all get that. We don't really care about that at this point. Now it's about getting the best player in the baseball in the entire league on the team and locked up for at least 5. You would say, like 5 at the minimum. You would think. So let's see what it takes because the winter meetings are starting now. Obviously, rumors. There was also a guy who asked for a trade. I forget his name now. Pirates star.
Reynolds
asked for a
The
trade.
Yankees have been in on Reynolds,
And now they're saying
every
they're in
time
on
there's
him
a
again.
trade rumor with Reynolds, they've been attached to it. So I would take him. Yeah, he's an all-star.
See.
He's good.
Switching over to football real quick before we get into the entire slate. Deion Sanders, my guy, prime time, my favorite player of all time, takes the job at Colorado. A couple interesting takes over on Chop Sports, the Facebook group, saying that he was selfish and he's leaving these kids high and dry and this, that, and the third. That, to me, is quite the moronic take. I'm not calling you a moron in specific, but just kind of a dumb take, considering why do you get into coaching at that level? You don't do that for a feel-good story. You took that Jackson State team and brought them relevancy. You brought them to ESPN. You brought them nationwide coverage, all while knowing that you want to advance your own career. No, why would you get into coaching if you don't want to be the big dog? I mean, there was rumors about him being in the NFL as a coach relatively quick.
He's a liaison for change in college programs, and that's what Deion's trying to do. And believe me, if he does well at Colorado, he's going to be back down in the SEC or ACC before you know it, because that's what his ultimate goal is here. For a fact.
Or NFL. You never know, man.
Yeah, maybe, but I doubt
the change in culture is complete over at Jackson State. He just flipped that shit on its ear.
We'll see what happens next year when he leaves.
He's going to leave Colorado?
No, well, now that he's gone, right? We'll see what the program looks like.
According to him, he's bringing his luggage.
Well, of course.
Let's bring some talent.
And when you bring your luggage, you know it's your dresser at home is left a little empty. So
it's true.
If he's bringing his luggage, then what's Jackson State going to be having? His quarterback is coming with him. That's his son, right?
Yeah, he said it already. I mean, that's insane to me. He basically said, hey, if you're the starting quarterback for Colorado. No, but think about that, though. Let's just say you're the starting quarterback of Colorado. That's the only thing that would really trip me up. Like, if my name is Ben Smith and I'm the starting I don't know who the Colorado quarterback is, but I'm saying, I'm the guy, right? And I've had a rough year, but I feel like I'm going to be, better. And maybe I progress towards the end of it. You got a new coach that said, that's cool, man. Congrats on your success. But my boy's coming in to play quarterback.
There is 0% chance that any player on the Colorado offense this year should be looking at what they've done the past 12 weeks, 12 games, and be like, yeah, we're deserving of our job for no reason.
Well, yeah, they're Kyle just said it.
Yeah, that's
how much of a culture change. It won't be if they stink. But I'm saying it's not just. I'm not saying culture change in regards to record. Yeah, they're going to be lesser without Deion and without his son playing quarterback. They will be a lesser program. But you would think that whoever takes over, and I don't know if they probably haven't named the head coach yet, but could be a Deion coaching tree guy. I'm leaving you in good hands. Here's offensive coordinator A or quarterback coach B or whatever the case.
I mean, he's sorting out his staff. When you leave a college program, your job is not to make sure they're left in good hands. This isn't a retirement. This is I'm leaving, I'm going somewhere else. I have a new job to do to make my team as best as possible there. So if there's anybody that I'm interested in being a good coach, or I think is a good coach, he's going to come with me. I'm not going to be like, here, hire this guy.
So for all those
it's
people,
not like Deion's been there for 30 years. Imagine coach.
Imagine being on that other side, as said on Chop Sports this weekend. Imagine being on the side like, oh man, all those commits he just said he's bringing whoever he wants.
Bro, college football is finally fixed to the point where they could go wherever they want.
Or a little broken.
No, I mean,
it's free agency in college football.
And what about that is broken because it's something you're not used to?
I'm just saying. Listen. I was team pay the players forever, but now it's the Wild West, and you can go wherever you want, whenever you want, however you want to do it. That's just the way it is.
So Rube is coming in. He ddid advocate for one of his assistants to get the job.
There you go.
After him,
culture.
But his assistant that he probably doesn't like all that much, because if he did, then he would.
Because if he did, he'd bring him over to Colorado.
Or it's an opportunity.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. But anyway, that was the Deion stuff. We did talk about Baker for a second. He's about to get cut by the Cleveland Browns. That already happened. Traded from Cleveland to Carolina. Carolina's about to drop his sorry ass into the free agent market. He's going to go through waivers. Nobody's going to touch him. Maybe somebody brings him in as a backup. I don't know. But if I had a guess, now the 49ers brought in Josh Johnson. I don't know if you know that, right away.
Yeah.
In a corresponding move. Josh Johnson is a journeyman at best.
Yeah.
He's won some games, right? But Josh Johnson or Baker Mayfield.
Brock Purdy.
No. As a backup.
I'm not, bro. There is a 0% chance.
And there's also Jacob Eason over there. Rookie-ish.
No way, Baker.
Okay. So Baker does not play in. Always finds a way to come back out, Chris. Old head Dave. I don't know what that means, but I guess in regards to college football and whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Baker Mayfield stinks. He's going to wind up on somebody's team, I would assume, next year. Maybe nobody even takes a flyer on him this year. Lets him kind of sort things out. But yesterday, believe it or not, 13 games played, 8-5, 8-5, 8-5 across the board. Me, you, and Chris. Me, you, and Rob. So the standings heading into Monday Night Football, I'm 90-95. Rob is 91-94. He's in first place, and Gooch is in the basement right now, 88-97, because Gooch has kind of taken the foot off the gas, likes to take the underdogs, figured why the hell not? So you could tell how much he's actually invested in these picks just based off his last couple of weeks. But 8-5 is still 8-5. So we'll start with the local front. And that is the we had ourselves a sibling makeout session because the sisters have been kissed and the Giants and the Commies are awful. I've said that the Giants have been playing bad for a while. This is just another example of that. The Commanders, look, you said it today in the Mojo Market Report that if Tyler Heineke was the quarterback of who are we talking about?
The Jets.
The Jets would have won that game yesterday. We'll talk about the Jets in a little bit. But this is brutal for both teams, but it kind of solidifies them as the 5 and the 6 or the 6 and the 7. Even though the Washington Commanders are now out on the outs right now, that tie might help them down the back stretch. I know Chris all of a sudden got, his analytical head, he put his little analytical head on, and he said that the Packers all of a sudden have a playoff chance.
That's not what I said at all. All I said was the Packers' playoff chances went up dramatically considering how bad they were, and they're still very bad. But a lot of things that they needed to happen, and we didn't need this to happen, but this didn't hurt. We don't know how this game is going to affect the Packers. They have to win every game first. That's not going to happen anyway. So we're good. But the Packers' chances have gone up significantly.
Well,
so don't start. And also, you said that both these teams look like shit. I agree that there's some bad.
Got to finish.
But there was some good. And I think Daboll kind of fucked up at the end.
I think so too.
He's been getting all the heaping praise on him for all the job that he's been able to do this year. But down the stretch, I feel like they were a little too conservative, and it cost them the potential chance.
My question is this, and I asked you this on Friday when we were doing the picks: if the Giants miss the playoffs for whatever reason, is it a failed season, right? And we kind of debated that back and forth. But now I'm thinking about this. You have the team, right? They get off to this crazy good start. The Giants were rolling. If they continue to play this way, is that not just I'm not talking about the season in general, but is that a testament to the head coach that you can't sustain this team? And I understand the injuries happened, and I get all that, and they've gotten a lot of guys back last week, and the Commanders are not that good of a football team. Like, they're okay, and they've been playing at the right time, and they're kind of surging at the right time. Well, but you got to win this game.
These two teams are really, really lacking a lot on their roster, both offensively and defensively. I think the Commanders' defense has actually been able to play pretty well, but they're still they're a product of. I don't even know. They stop the run really well, but they don't stop the pass well, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like a lot of the defenses in the league.
But look at those missed tackles at the end of that game, by the way, for the Redskins to even get in there. I can't sit here and look at a team and two teams that have done enough things well this year where it's like very top heavy. Do I think they're contenders? Absolutely not. But they've both done a nice enough job, and because they tied, it's easy to sit here and pour cold water on both seasons. But they didn't lose. And they're both right now in a pretty good position. They're both in a pretty good position, all things considered, where we expected them to be going into the year. It's December, and this game has playoff implications. And these two teams are potentially playoff teams. You've had the morning to digest this. And how you feel? How does a tie make you feel at this point? I mean, I know you said you came in today for the Mojo Market Report, said, I don't know how to feel. Now that you've digested about 3 hours, 4 hours worth of content over there on the old YouTube and whatever you're watching this morning, how you feeling about a tie, bro?
I still don't know how to feel because I feel like at one point I think it was 4th and 3, and we were just above the field goal marker where he could make it, like whatever his goal was. And
they punted.
They punted. They took the penalty 5 yards back, and they punted.
It looked like McCarthy against Green Bay.
And I'm looking at my friend. I'm like, dude, like what? Like we thought he was gonna kick the field goal, and then the offense comes back out, and I'm like, oh great.
And then he did miss the field goal, and he was short, and I believe the other one was a little bit longer anyway. So
yeah. But I still would like to try. Like,
yeah, exactly. Go out there and kick the field goal, and you don't have to worry about it. But in any event, again, both teams still very much alive in the NFC at the bottom of it, 5, 6, and 7 seeds. 6 and 7 seeds. are up for grabs.
Yeah,
So
6-1-1 since October 13th. The Commanders.
how about that? How about that? Somebody's playing some inspired football over there. I can't put my finger on the fact of why this team turned around. Oh, that's right. They got rid of Carson Wentz. And I've been trying to tell people that for fucking years, that this guy has been doo-doo paper. Absolute doo-doo paper. So anyway, forget about the...
Dave did it, guys. He made the Redskins good again. Oh, the Commanders.
Who made him?
You.
No, Tyler
Tell
Heineke
everybody.
did. The coaching staff finally turned the corner on Carson
Ron
Wentz.
Rivera. Oof.
Junk. Anyway,
6-1-1 though. Damn, that's
it's a long
crazy.
one. With the Niners season potentially in shambles now, Seattle wins the West handily. I see no reason that all four NFC East make it to the playoffs. In spite, yes, they're alive, but I wouldn't. We'll talk about the Niners a little bit. I don't think all is lost with the Niners. We'll talk about it. Let's move it on to. That's right, Jimmy. It's Victory Monday. I wish you could say the same. What do you call this? Like Tie Monday? And I texted Jimmy right away. I said all that shit you talked about the World Cup and tying and no scoring and all this shit, and it came back to bite you in the ass. That is what we call karma.
He's 100% right about everything he said about the World Cup.
You're just
if he's talking shit
look,
about it.
and I know we didn't touch on that at all. Maybe we should segue into the World Cup before we get into everything. I'm kidding. If Chris clearly likes soccer, so we should probably start our own soccer show to be completely
Christian Pulisic looks like the water boy on the fucking sideline in the NFL. There, I said it.
So anyway, U.S. drops to the Netherlands and the Dutch want to talk it over. But anyway, so
guy was in the hospital because he got fucking
kicked in the nuts.
Goal over. Yeah, come on, bro.
Moving on to the JETS.
The hospital.
They fall short. The Jets had two chances to get this game won, and they couldn't do it. And is that a little bit of Mike White not doing his job? I don't know. He played well. The Vikings gave up 500 yards of offense. The Vikings defense is absolute garbage. And this is against Mike White. This is against a no name, and I'm not calling them names, but I'm saying a no-name tag team of a duo of a running back situation. You got like Bam Knight, whoever the hell that guy is. He came out of nowhere. And I don't even know, did J-Rob even play? So he had some carries, right? But again, this is one of those things where it's like pieced together, and the Vikings should have absolutely lost this game. But the Jets fell short twice. And it's just like, what does this team got to do? Because now the Jets are finding themselves, yes, they're in the playoffs still. If the playoffs started today, the Jets are in. Next week, you got to go to Buffalo. The Jets got to go to Buffalo next week. This is not good, not a good situation if you're Mike White. This is a very, very bad situation because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, my memory serves me right. After Mike White won his game last year, the following week was at Buffalo, and he got destroyed.
Well,
so
yeah,
it's
Mike White, it's not a good situation to be in, but this is the league, bro. You're not going to get Chicago and Minnesota's defense every week, and now we're going to see what Mike White's made of. I'm not so sure he's the guy, but, we're going to find out, like I said. The Jets are who they are. Their offense is supposed to be struggling. The fact that they even put up 500 yards, the bend but don't break stuff isn't going to work in the postseason for the Vikings, but their offense is real because the Jets defense is real. And they were able to put up 27. So you got to, bro, I was watching the red zone yesterday, and every single time I looked up, there was like an insane hit in this game. These motherfuckers were
letting them play.
For
in
as
this game,
bad
they were
as the
letting them play.
Minnesota defense played, and they gave up 500 yards, like you said, they were lighting people up. There was a lot of hard hits in this game. So they're bringing at least some type of energy. I don't believe in the Vikings. I believe in the Jets even less. So,
all right, moving on. Moving on to an absolute spark throttle job. The Dallas Cowboys take out the Colts 54-19. That's right, 54 points in the NFL. Now, look, this game, you were saying it. The Colts are a 2-point conversion away in the third quarter from tying the game at 21. And I'm sitting there with my dad. I'm like, I can't get over the fact that they let these teams hang around for as long as they do. And then the Cowboys set all sorts of records with points scored in one quarter. The Cowboys scored more points in one quarter than some teams did entire games yesterday, right? So the fourth quarter happens and the wheels completely fall off the Colts. They're a bad football team. Matt Ryan is very old. Jeff Saturday can't coach. They held Jonathan Taylor to like 3.9 a carry. So it's like the Cowboys did their job. The interesting shit that I read this morning is something that Rube kind of backed up. I saw it on ESPN. Again, do I like all of ESPN's analytics? Not really, but whatever. But according to Rube, who backed up, and I never like Rube's takes when they disagree with me, but when they agree with me, I enjoy them a lot.
You sound like a dork.
James Rube is in the chat right now. He said, and it's confirmed, that the Cowboys, if played on a neutral ground, would be favored against the Eagles right now and will be favored against the 49ers. And the Cowboys jumped from whatever they were prior to this week to all of a sudden better odds. The Cowboys right now have better odds to make it to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl than the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Bills. All of a sudden, I'm like, the fucking Eagles are 11 and 1.
Better odds.
Yes. Better odds, 50% chance to make it. That's better of a percentage than anybody else.
No.
I'm not talking about betting odds.
No. That's the odds.
I'm talking about percentages. The Cowboys have a 50% chance to make the Super Bowl right now. 50, according to their metrics. And a 30% chance to win the fucking thing.
Who's there?
I don't know.
Exactly.
See, you
that's
can't blame me. I'm just reporting numbers here.
But you're not, because there's actually it's ESPN's rankings, and I'm not
the
saying
metrics of some variation.
Right. I'm not saying that the Cowboys aren't in the conversation, but it's like, bro, this is stuff is exactly what they're doing, is what they're trying to do, is get us to talk about it and talk about 50%. Bro, you're telling me there's a 1 in 2 chance? It's crazy. It's just not.
James Rue says that's not true, and ESPN sucks. I mean, you backed it up. I wrote it on Twitter, and you fucking doubled down on it.
It can't be 50-50. The odds aren't. But I understand what you're saying. The Cowboys are clearly a really good football team. Their defense is legit. On a neutral field, they probably would be favored against the Eagles. The problem is they're not going to get a neutral field. They're probably going to have to go to Philly if they play.
Correct. And the last time Cowboys went to Philly, they lost with Cooper Rush.
And honestly, it's crazy to say that,
but they put fucking 40 on them last year in Philly. So that's a thing.
Last year's a very different Philly team.
Come on, man. How much difference does 1 year make?
Well, they didn't have A.J. Brown, right? Devontae Smith was in his rookie season. They did not have Jordan Davis. Should I continue about the defensive additions? Bradbury, Slay was there mid-season last year.
We're going to give kudos to Bradbury all of a sudden?
I'm just saying, like, is there not a lot of roster turnover?
A lot of roster turnover, but I'm saying, like,
I feel like their corners are pretty solid.
I also watched that same Eagles team beat this
Should I
Colts
not be
team by
giving
1.
credence to Bradbury? Is he not playing well this year?
I just don't like I don't like Bradbury.
But is he good?
Bradbury? I don't find him to be that good. Honestly, I don't. He's not Jackrabbit bad, but he's not that great.
He's good.
He's solid, I guess, at best. But what I will say is this: the Cowboys defense is absolutely crazy. They make Matt Ryan turn the ball over 5 times, whether it be picks, sacks, fumbles, whatever the case. The Cowboys played really well. Interesting to note that the Cowboys, and here comes Rube, I know he's going to just jump all over this one. The Cowboys' first 6 plays of the game, Tony Pollard was the running back. First 6 plays. That's never happened when Zeke was healthy. Zeke apparently was being disciplined by the coaching staff for something that he did over the week. My assumption is that it was like a late practice or hit the snooze button 1 too many times. But that, to me, that shows you a little bit of McCarthy. I know you hate him, and you justifiably so, even though you won your fucking Super Bowl. You could justifiably say that
you don't like McCarthy either, Dave.
There's been plenty of times I want him fired into the sun. Yes, absolutely. But when you have a chance for the first time since 1995 and 96 to have back-to-back double-digit win totals, a coach doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. There's decisions that he made are outlandish, and I'm like, what is he even doing? But, like, come on now. You got to give the credit a little bit, no?
Nope.
None.
No. I've been here before.
0 credit.
You know how many... Here's the thing. I wonder what you get for back double-digit win seasons, because that's what McCarthy's done his entire career. He's got 1 Super Bowl to show for it, and it had 0 to do with him, and it had everything to do with the fact that the Packers weren't being covered that year by anybody. Why did
the Packers win that Super Bowl?
Probably because Deshaun Jackson returned a punt against the Giants.
That's not my question. I know you made the playoffs because of that.
Okay.
But why did they win that Super Bowl?
Dave,
if McCarthy's not the reason, why is it? Just tell me. You cannot sit here and pinpoint one reason or another. Like, you're looking for a specific answer as to why a team. Not one answer.
Maybe it was
Clay
multiple. Matthews, shifting over B.J. Raji and causing a fumble on Mendenhall. Maybe it was the fact that Aaron Rodgers.
So their defense was really good that year.
Well, yeah, they were a top 10 defense.
And their quarterback was who?
MVP Aaron Rodgers. They didn't win the MVP that year. But
No. But I'm saying. So you're saying that the Packers with Mike McCarthy at the helm won a Super Bowl based on a really good defense and a pretty damn good quarterback.
Oh God,
are we not?
Bro, are we? If you even compare Dak,
I'm talking about situations. I'm not talking about Dak being better than Rodgers.
No. I'm talking about that season. Aaron Rodgers. That 6-game stretch was maybe the best quarterback stretch that we've seen in 20 years, right? And that's not a debate. Like, look at it. Carved up everybody.
I'm just saying right now, if you're watching, whatchamacallit? When did it win the Super Bowl? 2010?
2009, 2010.
Okay. Because I'm just curious what he did in 2010. So he throws 28 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Okay. Now, that's cool. All right. That's very good, I think. Dak Prescott in 2022 stats.
Bro, are you pulling up stats?
Yes, motherfucker. That's what I'm doing. That's what people do, right?
No.
People do. People pull up stats all the time. All you people are analytically driven right now, right? That's what you all do. So this 2022 right now, Dak Prescott has where the hell is it?
Bro, you're using Dak Prescott
13 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. And they're also averaging 35, 36 points a game since he came back. You cannot discredit the fact that I don't care what I've said about Dak in the past. It is a week-by-week thing. Dak Prescott is the highest critiqued quarterback in NFL history. Tell me another quarterback in NFL history, bro, that catches the flack that Dak gets.
Maybe every single
That's
guy.
not true. That's not remotely true, and you know it.
Bro, it's insane.
You know it.
It's insane that you think that
week to week, bro.
Your Twitter feed is Cowboys, so maybe you see it. But if there's a
I
quarterback
don't follow
that
anybody
fails,
else.
No. But I can promise you that Lamar, how about this? You're guilty of giving people shit after 1 week. Rodgers, Lamar, you could name a quarterback down the line. Justin Herbert.
I've given Dak shit. It's a week-to-week thing. But have you ever seen anybody get the shit that he gets on a week-to-week basis?
Every quarterback.
That's not true.
Every
man.
quarterback.
Bro,
right, Ghetto Gronk takes no prisoners.
That's Ghetto Gronk.
Everybody is on
Giants tied
the
Washington Commanders. Do you see a goddamn thing written about Daniel Jones right now?
But I also don't think any Giants fans are out there saying that Daniel Jones is a top 10, top 5 quarterback, the way the Cowboys fans have been saying the last couple of years. So there's a different type of there's a different type of vitriol. Who?
Dak.
He almost is what?
A top 10 quarterback in this league again. Look at this. The stats don't lie. The wins don't lie. I don't understand. it. I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe blinders are on because I'm excited about being a 9-3 football team. But the fact that since he's come back, the Cowboys are scoring 35 a game, and you got to take that away from the kid.
I'm not taking it away from anybody. I'm saying Dak's a good quarterback, but when we're talking about Mike McCarthy here, and somehow we're talking about Dak now, my point is I don't think Mike McCarthy's a good coach. I don't care if you get 13 wins this year or 14. I think that there's going to be a point in the season, playoffs specifically, where you're going to be like, this motherfucker's got to go. Just like last year. They were a really good team all year, and then down the stretch, it was Mike McCarthy that just couldn't figure it out. Time management, you name it. Maybe he's gotten a little bit better. It's been almost 2 decades now.
I specifically wish, and social media was around, but I'm not about to dig because I really don't care that much. But I wish I was around you, your Twitter. No, you didn't have Twitter, but like your Facebook feed when those Packers won the Super Bowl in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to know if there was any inkling of you saying, man, as bad as McCarthy is, he finally got it. Or
Absolutely
something.
Not.
One of those conversations. I'm not saying publicly put it on Facebook, but in conversation with your old man, or
How about
this?
The exact opposite. My father would be
you're like,
he's not
we
bad.
Just won
In spite
of
McCarthy. I bet 100%. What you know about me, right, is that I'm going to be completely honest. Like Mike McCarthy, we won in spite of him. And I remember sitting there thinking like, God damn it, again, deep run. If we don't win the Super Bowl, he's done enough that we're going to keep him a fucking again. That's what my thought process was.
And then once you won that Super Bowl, did your thought process change at all?
No, my thought process is like, damn.
You're stuck.
Now we're stuck.
God, man. Like I said, to me, there's something to be said about the Cowboys playing the way they're playing right now. And again, they're 9-3. Do they ultimately are ready to break my fucking heart in a million pieces in January? Yes. More than likely, yes. Right? That's the
Brock
age is
Purdy.
Oldest.
It's going to be Brock Purdy. We're talking about Jalen Hurts and the Eagles.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now. If the Cowboys get to the playoffs and they have the 5 seed and they go to San Francisco and lose to Brock Purdy,
it's going to rain.
No justification.
It's going to rain, and Debo is going to have like 13 carries. Right? 189 yards.
Only Chris knows how to put the damper on
Brock
a
Purdy.
big win by the Cowboys.
Sloppy jalopy out there. In,
Let's move on to
Santa
a
Clara.
team. Let's move on to a team that's dead in the water. All right, the Green Bay Packers, dead in the water right now. 28-19, they get the win over the Chicago Bears, where apparently Soldier Field has officially been renamed Rodgers Stadium. It's just done. And I know again, Rube's gonna be like, "That was a good loss. We lost. I can't wait to lose." Whatever, man. Whatever makes you sleep at night.
At a certain point, you have to start looking at Justin Fields' numbers in crunch time.
That's what I'm saying. So, like,
and
all
start
this,
to say that
we're
maybe he
losing,
isn't the
and
guy.
we're better draft picks, and all that money and all that shit, and we're all excited about the running ability by Justin Fields. But guess what? That's not sustainable. Not in this league. You got to be able to throw the ball. And when push came to shove, Justin Fields has not gotten it done multiple times this year. So how are we excited?
I have a
Bears
question.
fans.
I have a question for Rube.
Well,
And this is honest. This isn't me hating. I recognize
you're full of noise.
I recognize what's happening in Chicago in terms of losing football games, et cetera, right? And being better in a better position for the draft. But the fact remains is that this team is not going out there trying to lose, right? Justin Fields isn't trying to lose these games with the hopes of getting a better draft pick. You don't want to be 0-4 against the Packers after coming in and saying, I want to beat Green Bay, right? These are games that count in terms of your fan base, et cetera. I understand that Justin Fields could run the football, but there comes a point in games where Justin Fields needs to stop the clock, throw a deep out or even a short out, and this guy just can't seem to do these things. And
I understand. Little things, folks.
Look, we're talking about guys like Zach Wilson. We're talking about Trevor Lawrence. We're talking about all these other quarterbacks, Mac Jones. None of these other guys are doing much things well either. Trevor Lawrence has had splashes, and Justin Fields, outside of everybody else, I'd say is maybe the second best quarterback in that draft class. But all this fake
that draft class wasn't deep, huh? It's like Lawrence and Fields. Who else?
I mean, there was Mac Jones, Zach Wilson. There was a ton
they all
of quarterbacks.
actually.
Wow. Trey Lance.
Well, he broke his foot. So.
But 5 quarterbacks in that first round of that draft.
That's the draft that we had. Like we were predicting that draft.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Wrong. I'm curious. I'm curious to think, like, do you really believe Justin Fields is a guy, or is this the fan in you thinking that
he's going to come back and say
no? I mean, I'm being honest, because
guy.
If I don't like a Packer play, like I was upset that Jordan Love was drafted. It took me 2 years to come around to a degree. I was like, all right, last year I get it. He didn't do nothing wrong. I don't hate Jordan Love, but now I'm on the side of things where I think Jordan Love is a better player than Justin Fields. Right?
Hot take and bold take. It's hard to say that. I understand how you feel, but I don't know
so
about
Fields was
that.
a thrower in college. I understand he was like.
He also came from Ohio State, so that's a bugaboo, according to most sources. So,
all right, fair point. He has nobody to throw to.
I mean, he's a
Chase
Claypool, which I heard was a great trade.
Chase Claypool was a top 40 receiver in the NFL.
But I heard it was a great trade, according to Rube. So, and now you have Mooney on the shelf, which again, he'll be back next year.
Now, Rube. Next question: 100 million cap space.
He's calling Justin Fields a top 10 draft.
That I think is a little bit of a bold take. We both know that, Rube. If you think he could grow into that, that's fine. But stop.
Welcome to Trollmania here at Shop Studios.
100 million cap space and 8 draft picks. Do you believe in the front office enough to think that they're able to figure this out once and for all? I don't know, man.
Put my comments back up, please. Kyle wants it. Fields was missing Mooney, his leading receiver that game. Cole Kmet, who averages 28 yards a game, literally 0 targets on the field, averaging more than 28 yards a game. I don't know what he's trying to do. Is he backing up Fields on that one?
Yeah, I guess so. He's saying that he doesn't have anybody to throw to. That's fair. That's fair.
Bailey, I'm a top 40 receiver in the NFL. Listen. It's not. Can we skip this? Sorry, Mark. You have to sit your Canadian ass right there and take this L like you do every single week.
Fair point, Rube. I'm not here to bash. The Packers do enough of beating up on the Bears for me to really even not give a fuck, right? I don't believe that Justin Fields is going to be the elite quarterback that you think he's going to be, but we're going to find out. It's an interesting time for this rivalry.
Wrong. Listen, there's nothing wrong with what James Rube is doing as far as like really hoping that this is the guy.
No, look.
That's how I felt about Dak. I was like, God damn, this guy better be it.
More reason for him to be excited now about the quarterback position than there ever has been in his entire fanhood, right? So I give him that.
All right, moving on.
Rube, we're still 4-0 against you since we've met, bud.
They still own him. This one went not the way I thought it was going to go. I said, until somebody beats the Chiefs are the best. Well, guess what? The Bengals said, hold my beer. We beat the Chiefs. And now the kryptonite is official. Like, not only in the AFC title game last year, or it was the AFC title game last year with the Chiefs and Bengals. Was that the division game? The Bills lost the AFC title game, so it was a division round. But like, right? Yeah. But now again, happens again. Like, I think they're 3-0 the last 3 games. The Bengals.
The Bills didn't lose. This was
AFC title game.
Yeah.
The Bills didn't make it to the AFC title game.
No, they lost to the Chiefs in that.
I thought that was the AFC title. Oh, then the Chiefs. All right, Dave. The memory serves me right. I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, if I even ate lunch. But what I will say is this: the Bengals are playing very, very good football right now, dude. Joe Burrow is Joe Cool. He's under pressure a lot. He's still throwing them all over the place. Jamar Chase returned yesterday. It was significant. T. Higgins had himself a day. They did this all without Joe Mixon. Something to be said about that. And I have Patrick Mahomes as one of my fantasy quarterbacks, and I'm sitting there like, dude, the guy's had no time to throw the ball. He's on the run all the time yesterday. The Bengals defense showing up in a big spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I knew it was going to happen, but I expected.
I mean, you picked the Bengals
to come in and play well in this game, but you don't know shit about shit when it's Friday, or even Sunday morning for that matter. But yeah, Joe Burrow, I don't know if he's ever lost in December on any level. I really don't. I feel like it's
insane.
Just look at it. I doubt he's ever lost any high school football game at any point.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those guys.
Yeah, you know,
never lost a game in high school.
Hasn't lost ever in his life.
Oh, look, Sam, yeah, your flowers are there. He said, to watch out for the Bengals on Friday. He said this team's on the right. Really, they're playing really good football at the right time. You get hot in December, things can kind of materialize, and all of a sudden, the Bengals are one of the teams to watch in the AFC. And you still have the Chiefs. The Chiefs are still they're gonna roll. Once they get back home and they do their thing, they're gonna roll. They're gonna play good football going forward. You can just feel it. And the Bills are going to get back to being the Bills. They're probably beat up on the Jets next week. So, like, the AFC right now, between those 3 teams, there's arguments to be made that the Bengals are the better of the 3. No? Maybe? Bengals, Bills, and Chiefs? Would you put the Bengals at 1 in a ranking system right now?
Not quite yet.
No, not yet? Okay. But they're playing good.
But it doesn't matter where we rank them. These guys,
I'm saying talent-wise.
they match up well against the Chiefs. They clearly match up well. They got their number. I don't know that they match up as good against Buffalo. But really, let's strap up because it's going to be fun to watch.
Bailey
AFC.
giving out the old gold star. Good job,
It's going to be
Bailey.
fun to watch the AFC.
Doing this without Mixon explains why his mojo numbers, what was it? How the hell you know about mojo?
Florida doesn't have mojo yet.
Well, he can look at the app. So coming soon to a state near you, mojo coming at you. But anyway, it was a great game. The Bengals get it done. They're playing very good football right now. So congrats to them and their 8 fans. Moving on. What do we got next, Ant? All right. So this is an important one to talk about. It's funny because, I didn't ready for this. So I usually bet the entire top bets for the ticket with Kyle over at the Sauce. This was the first week that I was selective on the top bets because I didn't agree with a lot of them. This one I was worried about, but I rode with the Sauce on this with the Niners being favored by a significant amount and the way the Dolphins have been playing. This entire game, now keep in mind, we all talked about it. Jimmy G goes down in the first quarter, and they didn't look back. Like the 49ers didn't struggle. They get this win. It's not one of those win, but all is lost moments. I don't think. Look, Brock Purdy's Mr. Irrelevant. I know Kyle's a fan of his. He was waiting for him to get drafted all draft long. So, like, Brock Purdy all of a sudden comes in there. He doesn't suck. He doesn't give the game away. And they roll. They continue to roll, and they get it done against a very good Dolphins team who, again, on Friday on the Mojo Market Report, I said that this game could be a Super Bowl preview. Is it now with the complete digression of the quarterback position? Probably not. But the Niners are still that team, man. Their defense is unbelievable. Bosa is on another level right now. Tua looked like a shell of himself. Finally, forgot his invisible juice. That's a Willie Beeman quote. But like, I don't know, man. Tua came down to life. I don't know. What's your takeaways about this game in particular? Because, again, Brock Purdy, serviceable. What kind of run can he give?
I saw a lot of people talking in, the Bleacher Report forums, on the Sleeper forum, on the fantasy app, and everybody was saying that basically Brock Purdy's like a way better passer than Trey Lance. Like, way better. And Trey Lance does a lot with his legs. Trey Lance is obviously injured, so it doesn't matter. But and Rube is saying it in here, and I'm back to agreeing with Rube after the 5-minute debacle we just had. that Shanahan's incredible, and the guys that he drafts are system quarterbacks.
The next comment's even better. Look at this one.
And they probably looked at Brock Purdy and they were like, we know we're getting him, right? He's probably not going to get drafted. And they just took him with the last pick of the draft, understanding that this guy fits our system. We could bring him along. And obviously he played well.
When's the last Mr. Irrelevant to start a game in the NFL?
Never.
At quarterback, right?
I think he's the first person.
I mean, Brady taking in the sixth. Fine,
I think,
but like,
I don't know if he's even the first guy to even complete a pass.
There's probably it's hard to say that these guys even make teams.
First of all,
right?
The idea that it's even a quarterback, like how many guys are drafted last that are a quarterback? You know, like it's not like every year the Mr. Irrelevant is a quarterback. So there could only have been maybe one or two, maybe three, right?
Yeah.
How many guys were drafted last that are a quarterback?
Last year, you said?
I mean, just in general. Like it could easily be that he's the only one to ever even complete a pass, because if there was like
somebody get on that.
out of all the draft picks ever, how many Mr. Irrelevants were quarterbacks? And then how many guys that are drafted 280th see the field? Not many. But Purdy was a
ready for this? Since 1970, this one is the pop up first, and not quarterback play. Since 1970, only five Mr. Irrelevants have played more than 50 career NFL games. Like, that's insane. Because you think about it, like the seventh round is it's not a throwaway round, because sometimes
I think the 49ers
maybe some special
foolish
teams guys
to do anything other than keep Brock Purdy as their starter. He's been with that system since day one. They're not going to bring in Baker Mayfield. They're not going to do anything crazy. It's too late in the season to bring in a guy that hasn't been there all year, that nobody likes to begin with. And we're going to find out if Brock Purdy could take this team.
I don't know how many old heads are watching this right now, but it's like people also ask, has there ever been a successful Mr. Irrelevant? Marty Moore, a special teams player, became the first Mr. Irrelevant to play in a Super Bowl with the Patriots, and they won that Super Bowl. So we have a Mr. Irrelevant with a Super Bowl ring as a special teams guy. But overall, you would assume not really relevant. But how far could this defense carry this team? They still have the ability to drop it off to McCaffrey, to drop it off to Debo, to hit Kittle underneath, to have Ayuk kind of stretch the field.
Truthfully, I think it could take them as potentially as far as an NFC Championship loss.
That's 2 wins in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they ain't getting a bye.
Because I think if Minnesota has to play San Fran, that's a tough matchup for the Vikings. I think if Dallas plays San Fran, no offense, Dave, I think that's also a tough matchup for Dallas. I'm not saying they can easily win those games. I think they run into problems for real when they play Philly on the road. And at that point, I don't think they could beat that team, and I don't think they could beat anybody in the AFC.
Okay. I'm just looking at something real quick. The 49ers remaining schedule here. Next week, Tampa Bay. The following week at Seattle, the Commanders, the Raiders, and the Cardinals.
All winnable, but they could lose any one of those games too.
That's what I was just going to say. It seems like it's all a little bit of a coin flip.
49ers right now, but I take the.
But they put themselves in a position to lose a couple.
If you're in a coin flip, though, I like the defense. And if Brock Purdy's able to play mistake free, which AJ came in and said he had some heinous throws, fair.
Probably did
expect that for a Mr. Irrelevant. But we're going to see how he is. It's Tampa coming up.
Yeah,
that's a tough defense to deal with. Maybe not as tough
and
as
then
been,
not for nothing. Ready for this? Tampa, and then on a short week, Thursday Night Football at Seattle. There's a chance they lose the next 2. Think about that.
But if they win the next 2, then it's like,
well, if they win the next 2, consider crown.
They've won 5 straight right now.
Yeah, they beat the Dolphins, the Saints, the Cardinals, the Chargers, the Rams, and the last time they lost was the October 23rd blowout by the Chiefs.
They were 3-4, and now they're 8-4.
Hey man, defense wins championships. I'm trying to tell everybody that. I don't like to see it. I mean, it's a quarterback-driven league. Everybody wants to see offense, but if you have a good defense, they can take you.
And look at Jimmy G's numbers in the games that they won. The 4 games.
Oh, he ain't lighting the scoreboard up at all. He doesn't have to.
So there's other ways. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Like a guy like Jimmy G was a serviceable quarterback because he can lace it in there when asked to do it and make the right decisions, not fuck the game up. Brock Purdy just has to be Jimmy G. That's not a tall order. It's really not. Anyway,
it's actually pretty short order.
Mr. Irrelevant is a bullshit nickname for Brock. Bullet Brock doesn't know how to lose. I love it. Oh, man. So, in any event, Niners are still rolling. What's next, Ant?
Got Debo, though, Mike.
Interesting here. The Raiders have won 3 straight. All of a sudden, 2 of them in walkout form. And here's Rube. This is where we're going right back at it. Chargers head coach is no good. It's no good. And you know why? I don't care how many. You could say like, oh, they were down their linemen. Oh, they were down this. Oh, they got no Mike Williams. Listen, man, Austin Eckler is one of the better players in football. There was a lot of time that Eckler was on the sidelines in that comeback run. There was, but you know how I know that? I have him in fantasy. So I was like, where is their best player when they need this guy? He coughed up the ball 2 series prior. You don't penalize or punish Austin Eckler for putting the ball on the carpet. You get his ass back in there, and he will help you win a game. They didn't do that because the coach is incompetent and he's a moron. Justin Herbert's not Jesus like everybody says he is. The Chargers are in a bad way right now. They're 6-6, outside looking in. If the Chargers miss the playoffs, you fire that head coach. I'm sorry, dude. You have too much talent in Justin Herbert, apparently, and a decent defense with, not great, but they're not bad either. Some of the better players in football are playing on that defense. You have to look at that Chargers season as a complete loss and a complete shamble of itself. We all went in here and started talking about, well, at least I did, about the AFC West being these bangers of teams, right? And the Chiefs are running away with this shit. And the Chargers have a chance to be in it, and they blow it. You don't lose games against a team that has no business winning this game. None.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Staley's a dork, and I don't think he's that great of a football coach. There was some interesting things that he said analytically, and I understand why people get behind a guy like that because he goes for it on 4th down in his own territory with for no reason. Shit like that's dumb. I'm sorry. I understand the odds. And I play the odds most of the times too, but when you're in, there's just sometimes bad football decisions.
Decent players on their defense there. I correct myself. Relax.
I understand he's not wrong about the injuries, and I get it, right? But these last couple weeks, the last 2, this one in particular, it's a bad loss for this team. They needed this game to show that they're getting some of their guys back, right? So Mike Williams was out. I understand that their offensive line injuries. I get it, but the Raiders, man. The Raiders have been doing everything in their power to lose football games, and the Chargers couldn't get it done, and it must win. I think their coach sucks. I think for Justin Herbert's sake, they should get out from underneath that head coach and see what they can do with somebody good at coaching.
Agreed. Moving on, because I'm not about to go back and forth with this shit. Big game for the Seahawks. I know they struggled a little bit in this one, and you shouldn't, against a very, very bad Rams team. But the Seahawks right now are probably looking at this now saying, all right, the Niners are down their quarterback. If we just continue to win the games on our schedule, we're just going to control our own, and they're going to win the NFC West, and they'll be a playoff team. Again, this is a team that I said will be jockeying for position with the number 1, number 2 overall pick with the Bears, and I seem to be on par with the Bears, but this one was completely off. I'm way wrong about the Seattle Seahawks. I was way wrong about Geno. Kenneth Walker gets hurt. That'll be interesting to watch and develop throughout the week.
Look, the Rams have been playing really shitty football.
I think Walford got hurt too.
And I feel like Seattle just kind of lucked out in this one where they're getting extremely opportunistic plays out of their defense right now. And I don't want to sit here and say that Seattle's defense isn't playing they're really good. They've turned the corner about 2 months ago and they've stopped the run well. But this game was gifted to them. I'm sorry. They did everything in their power to lose the game. I'm not so sure about Seattle going forward.
Well, here's why.
They look like shit.
Well, this is why you worry about Seattle as I look at their remaining schedule. This is brutal. Next week, they'll get a win. They'll play the Panthers, and they'll beat them in Seattle. They'll get that done. I think they will get that done. Then it's the Niners, the Chiefs, the Jets, and then the Rams again. You got to win 3 of those, I think, to be the NFC West champions. 2 of them at least. And one of them has to be against the Niners.
Well, I mean, if one of them is against the 49ers, then it changes what else they need to do.
Yeah.
Right. That game is the most important one. But I think Seattle's probably safely going to be a playoff team if they just split the difference there.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
NFC's,
I know. It's on the back end. It's bad. All right. Next.
We're looking at 3 teams potentially picking in the top 10 better playoff teams this year.
That's alarming. You said that to me this morning, and I was very upset.
Philly, Seattle, and
the Rams,
Detroit. They wouldn't be a playoff team. So either way, Detroit's looking like they're going to get that Rams pick as maybe the 3rd pick overall at this point.
And they're going to add a receiver because that's the Lions thing to do, is add more receivers on top of that. But anyway, back to the slate here. The Eagles do an absolute spark job all over the Titans. Once the Titans become one-dimensional and they can't run King Henry anymore and they have to start throwing the ball over the place, first of all, again, I'm always on different sides of the coin with this, but the hit on Treylon Burks, brutal. I didn't like it. Thought it was dirty. But then again, what are you taught? What are you taught? You're trying to get that ball out of there by any means necessary. So he lays into Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks goes down. What?
It's football.
I know. I'm on that fence right now. I'm like always teetering. Like, oh, that was dirty, but I would do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the way football used to be, and now it's not. So Treylon Burks gets a great touchdown.
If you're a Titans fan, be upset. If not, just football.
Yeah. Eagles have the 6th pick in the draft right now, coming in from Rob. It's fucking alarming, man. Anyway, so moving on with this game, at least, AJ Brown is proving that he is worth every single cent of the investment. The guy's catching it with zero space. Caught a ball on a man's shoulder pad and figured, I only need this. Like it's fine. I'll use this to my advantage. And then mows over the guy on a double move and catches another wide open touchdown. Eagles are running over teams. And again, for Rube to say that the Cowboys would be favored on neutral ground, that makes me happy. But I just like, while you look at this Eagles team, and again, there's been plenty of times where I'm like, well, they beat the Colts by 1, and the Lions gave them a game, and the Jaguars are up 14-0, and all this, right? With all these little glimmers of hope that they drop a game here and there, it hasn't happened. The Eagles are finding ways to win, and now I think Jalen Hurts is literally in the driver's seat to win MVP. What's stopping him from getting that award? Who?
Josh Allen's the only guy.
Maybe,
Mahomes,
but even Josh Allen has had games that this guy hasn't. Josh Allen's had games where I'm like, who the hell is that?
Right now, the MVP is up for grabs between those 3 guys, and the last 5 games are going to be very crucial in who gets it. That's how it always goes. So they're all 3 are in the conversation, but yeah, the Eagles keep on rolling. I don't know if there's anybody in the NFC that's going to stop this team.
I've become a big Giants advocate this week as the Giants take on the Eagles. So if you guys can get beyond that tie and Dayball can right all the wrongs, I would love for you guys to pick off Philly here in week 14, but I just don't see it happening. The Dallas Cowboys have them on Christmas Eve. It may not be worth or for anything, considering if they don't trip up before that game, it's all is nothing. The Cowboys are just going to try to lock up the 5, I guess. Which they'd be better off with the 6, to be honest with you. I just don't want to see Tampa Bay. I just don't want to do it. But in any event, Eagles get it done. They're 11-1. They're cruising still. Who's next? Bro, did you see this video that went viral with Mike Tomlin?
Yeah.
It's just like he's that dude. I know nobody likes him here except for me. Kyle thinks he's overrated. You think he's overrated?
I just don't think he's a good coach.
Well, somebody was like, hey, coach, go finish the game. Oh, I'm working, motherfucker. So like they're all fucking working. I'm like, God damn. The guy was, and he turned the camera back on himself. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like,
he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He's working, and he worked himself into another win. I'm telling you, there's something to this stat that this guy is not finished under 500 at all. And while this team won't make the playoffs by any stretch, and I said that last year about this time last year, and they made a run and made the playoffs. But this team, just unfortunately, AFC is just a little bit top heavy, so they won't make the playoffs. But he's trying to get a winning record here, and I don't know if it's possible. But they just ruined the Falcons' hopes of even sniffing the NFC South title with the Bucs playing, the way they're playing under 500 football, and you're like, if Atlanta just takes care of business, all of a sudden you're talking about a possible division title, and now it's just, I think it's up in smoke.
No, the Falcons they came around to who we all thought they were going to be, and now that's where they're at. The Steelers, I mean, I don't buy anything that we're talking about them having a winning season. It's nice to see Kenny Pickett look decent, right? He's
all right.
He's earning his lumps a little bit, and they're taking his lumps and earning his stripes. We'll see how it turns out for Pittsburgh, but this year is a lost year for both these teams.
Steelers remaining schedule. They got the Ravens with Huntley. We'll get into that in a minute. Steelers play at home there. Then they play the Panthers, and they play the Raiders, and they play the Ravens again. Then they play the Browns. All of a sudden, you're looking at the Steelers team like, well, I mean,
I'm not looking at them at all.
I know you're not, but I am. Why not?
All of a sudden, nobody's looking at them.
That's not true at all, dude. That's not true at all. And
I'm like, I wonder if Mike Tomlin can get this stupid, meaningless fucking stat for his own personal.
It's a personal game. It's a flex, bro.
I don't follow Mike Tomlin.
Listen, they're 5-7. They're 5-7 right now. Now let's not call it crazy, right? But you just heard the schedule. They're 5-7, and the Baltimore Ravens. Well, the Bengals are going to roll, so I'm not worried about that. But playoffs wise, no, not even close. I'm trying to pull this up at ESPN.
The Jets are 7-5.
Correct.
And they're out.
Guys, the Jets are 7-5, and the Steelers are 5-7. 2 games down with 5 to play.
and the Jets beat them.
Sure, but
So 3 games down.
with 5 to play. All I'm saying is this. If the Steelers can go on the road and take care of business like they did, and that schedule's favorable, why the fuck not, man? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to pump up the Steeler Nation or something. I don't know. But anyway, this game's out of reach. Doesn't matter. Another game where, boy, so a 40 burger was put on the Jacksonville Jaguars as the Jaguars announced we quit. Okay, because this is just not good. Shout out to Sunshine for getting hurt and coming back and playing, which is great. But yeah, the Lions, we said it today on the Mojo Market Report that maybe Jared Goff has played himself into a starting role next year, where you were thinking for a little while the Detroit Lions would have somewhat of a high pick. Maybe they take it on the quarterback of the future, but maybe just Goff is the quarterback of the future now. He's got enough talent around him to play this way.
I would say that Goff is most likely at least a quarterback on the roster next year and probably the starter. But the future, it depends on what you think the future is. They clearly probably want to move on from Goff at some point in the next, if they want to bring this team to another level. But I think Jared Goff being on the roster might have a significant part of bringing that quarterback in and along to where they need him to be. Jared Goff originally signed a very shitty contract with the Rams. Now it's the tail end of that shitty contract, and his dollar value is like 21 mil
with no guarantees.
With no guarantees. So they have outs if they need it, and they keep him around and keep him. If this offense is rolling the way it's been, then there's really no reason to move off of Jared Goff at that dollar amount, especially if you bring in a quarterback mid-first round, mid-second round in the draft this year, then you have a project to work on. But the Lions, if I'm talking seriously about the Packers playoff chances, which I'm not, the Lions are in a little bit better of a position than the Packers are playoff-wise, because I believe they have one less loss. And
yeah, the Lions are 5-7 and the Packers are 5-8. So it's a half
and a win over
and
the
Packers got a bye next week, which is like
and
week
they have
14.
A win over the Packers.
Brutal if you're in fantasy football. Shit.
Yeah.
What is that? Week 14 buys? That's insane to me. I'm sorry. Like, these are pivotal games in fantasy.
Yeah, the NFL is like, oh man, we can't do bye weeks that week because of fantasy. You think that?
No, obviously not. But I'm saying, like, even how much of an advantage to this? Let's just say a team is rolling and they get bit by an injury bug that might cost them a week, and they got to buy in week 14. That's a big thing.
That was me last week. Week 13. Joe Mixon was out, and I had James Conner and D-Hop on a bye with Mike Williams not playing.
And did you win?
No.
Yeah.
And I got eliminated.
I have AJ Dillon
eliminated on that.
AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones on a bye with Watson. But that's the only team that I have any Packers on besides their defense.
You have their defense?
Yeah, I spot start defenses. I carry defenses.
I've noticed you drafted like 14 in the Dynasty League. But anyway, so the Lions get the job done here. Interesting end of the year for them. They're playing some relevant football in December. Nobody would ever thought that. So good for them. Moving on. Finishing up with a couple games here. Yeah. All right. So the return of the massagist or the misogynist, or what do we call it? Massagee. And that would be Deshaun Watson, who played like junk, to be honest with you. Did not play good. It was their defense that just took it to the Texans, which, by the way, if you're a gambling man, I know, listen, I wanted to rack on Kyle yesterday again. And I'm like, will you stop betting against the Cowboys when the spread's big, right? Because I wanted to like flex on that, and I wouldn't. But now the Cowboys are, I believe, 16.5-point favorites next week against the Texans. So that'll be interesting, considering that kept the Colts around for a little while. But the Browns, they didn't look very good offensively. They look great defensively, but they played this team. So what the Browns can do in the future, I don't care right now about Deshaun Watson. I know his fan club was in the stadium yesterday. That was interesting, but he's back after like 700 days off. Deshaun Watson's back in the NFL. Nobody gives a shit. Yeah, 5 fantasy points. Sam Grasso saying not a great start for your 2022 run, but don't give a shit about this one. Moving on to the final game we're going to talk about. Not much to talk about here, except for the fact that Lamar Jackson goes down. They get it done. Huntley gets the win. Man, I understand it. If you take the Rube approach, like the Broncos are putting themselves in a good position for a draft pick. Great, but like, are they going to draft a quarterback? Because
they don't have a draft pick.
How about that? Because they gave it away
ever
for this guy.
They're never allowed to draft again. I think they gave up their entire draft.
Was that in the deal? They probably said, all right, we'll give you this, Noah Fant, and all of our draft picks for the rest of the time.
I believe it's a 1 and a 2 for the next 2. Oh my God. Something bad.
Seattle fleeced them after being
like,
fleeced
not the
for
next
Jamal
2,
Adams.
like this previous one and this one.
Yes.
Or was that
What did they
draft-
turn that into?
Was that trade after the draft?
No, it was pre-draft. Definitely pre-draft. But like, so yeah, fine. So they traded. So they got the first one. What did they turn that into? I believe a lineman this year. So they're building the offensive line in Seattle. And now they're going to have a top 10 pick, top 5 pick for the Broncos next year.
I'm pretty sure that they drafted one of these corners with it too. I don't know. Actually, those corners, the guys in the secondary, I think are like the 4th and the 6th round, and one leads the league in fumbles forced and one leads the league in picks.
Incredible turn of events. But now my question is this, and I know it's going to be the age-old debate. Lamar Jackson gets hurt again, knee injury. We all know the kind of player he is. Everybody's calling, not everybody, but some people call him a glorified running back who could throw sometimes, like myself. Again, MVP, yes, we get it. He played all world that year, delivered
Which pick did that come? My bad.
No,
Broncos got a number 1 for Chubb, but I don't even know whose pick that is because I feel like Miami had 30 picks.
Well, they turned that into incredible.
They had a bunch of other teams.
They had it, yeah. So that I don't know off the top of my head, I don't know, but I will say that the Ravens have put themselves in a position of leverage when it comes to paying this man a fully guaranteed contract of what he wants. Lamar Jackson wants a fully guaranteed contract. You keep playing this way and getting hurt, you lose that right. You lose that honor. You lose that ability to get a guaranteed contract.
I feel like
it's not.
I feel like if we're only sitting here talking about the guaranteed contract, I think
he's going to get paid like $1 trillion.
Even Lamar nobody's giving him a guaranteed contract because he's not a free agent. It's that simple. If he was an unrestricted free agent and there was 3 teams that are jockeying to get him, then you could say, yeah, he'll get it because then there's
but
leverage.
You said it too on the Mojo Market Report. Right, he will not play on that tag.
He won't play on the tag, but he's not going to play on the tag because he's worth more than that. And I don't think that the Ravens are going to tag him unless he refuses to sign an actual massive deal that they're just not fully guaranteeing it. He's not going to get a fully guaranteed contract, and we'll find out. Look, Tyler Huntley could come in right now and they could lose 4 games in a row and then be like, we need to pay Lamar, right? Or Tyler Huntley could come in and play
like a Cooper Rush.
Or he could come in and play even better because last year when Tyler Huntley came in, he was throwing the ball around. It wasn't like, let me game manage here. He was running when he needed to, and he was making plays with his arm. So if he comes in and he shows that the Ravens could be a possibly better football team, which is crazy to say, with Tyler Huntley, I mean, then you could maybe say, we're not going to give you $50 million. I don't think he's getting guaranteed money regardless. So if that's what the plan is, the injury doesn't change much for the contract to me. It's not a structural thing. It's like a bruise, they're saying. So
it's days to weeks, not like months, they're saying. So again, they got to weather this storm.
You go a full season with a quarterback and you expect him to not get hurt and then be like, well, you see you got hurt. And it's like, yeah, it's football, bro. We get hurt.
Yeah. So in any event, we got one more to go tonight. And like I said, I think Rob's still watching. Rob is still up 1 game. So I'd love to see Rob's pick first as we go into this one. But it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the New Orleans Saints. Now, look, the Tampa Bay Bucs are under 500 in first place, kind of control their own, to be honest with you. They can win this division just playing decent ball down the stretch. So they will be in a home game, like that's the rules. I don't make the rules. So all right. So Rob is on the Tampa Bay Bucs. Is there any reason to pick the Saints there, Gooch, at all?
Yeah, they're getting points.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's that breakdown hardcore knowledge of yours.
The Saints are getting points, so I'm going to take them.
The Saints historically, play the Bucs well. They do.
It's usually in New Orleans, though.
No, they've done well in Tampa, 100%.
Yeah.
So you're taking the Saints?
I'm taking the Saints.
I'm going to take the Bucs. I just look. The Saints aren't doing anything for me. The Andy Dalton he ain't the guy, and I don't know if they're trying to force that he is the guy. I don't know. I don't know what happened with Jameis Winston, how he could fall out of favor that quickly, where you're just not acting like not the guy. Again, very weird thing. Yeah. So before we get out of here, the break buds, why don't you plug that away?
Yes. So we've been putting this Thursday triple mem.
Are we officially doing this shit so I can tell everybody at home that I won't be home?
Well, the plan is to do it on Thursday for sure. So yes,
Pre-game.
everybody, there's
Pre-game?
some spots available. Pre-game Thursday, yes. And we're looking to do the triple mem. We're going to do giveaways. You know how we do on the YouTube, guys. So please, everybody get down with the get down. And even if you are not looking to purchase a team, which is, I mean, that's crazy talk. You should, right? Just join the room and join the party, and there's a chance for you to win some stuff. I believe we've given out most of the giveaways have gone to people that
We're in the
weren't
room
buying
on,
into
on
the break.
happenstance.
So
We're
you
in
just
there. Yeah.
you just join the party and you have a chance to win some free
Bailey
memorabilia.
said he'll buy a team right now. So do you know off the top of your head the team's available?
If Bailey goes over to
The
the
Break Buds
Instagram,
yeah.
or if he just goes on breakbuds.shop and looks at the Instagram, Joe made a post. So yeah.
Rob's gonna also take a team, he said, because he'll be here Thursday for the Fight Factory. So he'll be here in the house as well. So we got to kind of wrap that up and edit it and get it done and get him out of here. And get the guest out of here just so we can get the Break Buds thing in. But at least the studio will be set up. But anyway, that's a show. We appreciate you. A little overtime here, 10 minutes into the 12 o'clock hour. Hope everybody's enjoying their Monday. It's a victory Monday here at Chop for the both of us. For all you Giants and Jets fans out there, I'm sorry. A little bit more sorry for the Jets fans. Again, the Giants improve sort of, but they're whatever. Ties suck. Thanks for watching. Like the video. That would be helpful. I know Ashley chimed in earlier, said like the goddamn video, and nobody listened. I don't know. I don't see the live likes, so I don't see that, but that helps us in the search. If you're watching it right now and the video's over, hit the like button. It helps us tremendously. So for Sturch and Gooch, and of course, A5 behind the glass. This has been another episode of the Chop Sports Show. Thank you guys for watching, chiming in on the comments. We really appreciate the feedback. And we'll see you guys back here on Friday to lean for week 14. That rhymed. How about that?
Everybody, make sure you earmark this episode for when Dave talked good about Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, do that.